What's up, guys? I've got another team for you today. It's a little bit more meta than usual, but just a quick reminder, this channel, I guess the purpose of this channel is to provide people with different team comps that I think can take a player to legend, right? It's not a channel for spice picks. There's a lot of channels out there for spice for the sake of spice picks or people trying out the new Pokemon. Like the last team I played with Jellicent, I didn't choose Jellicent because it was a new Pokemon. I chose Jellicent because it was a legitimate addition to to my team, and I believed that it could take me to Legend, and then I proved that. Um, in this case, we have Vigoroth, Galvantula, and Altaria. It plays actually very similarly to a double weakness team, even though it technically isn't. But I'll get more of that in the video. As well, I've been putting out a video a day for the past couple days here. Unfortunately, I don't know if that can continue, right? This is all based on, it's all dependent on if my teams can be successful in the first place, and a lot of teams aren't. But this week, for some reason, everything I've touched has turned to gold. I guess as far as team building goes, when it rains, it pours, right? Um, yeah, first of all, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters, and I will load up this video and get right into the game. So this team here, I've been wanting to play with Altaria for a while. It's a Pokemon that I think is pretty underrated, at least at the in the Legend bracket. You don't really see any Altarias at all. Um, and Vigoroth is a Pokemon that you don't normally see as the lead. And Galvantula is a Pokemon that is traditionally seen as a lead instead of a safe swap, right? So it's a bit of a different lineup, and I guess what this video will probably expose, in my opinion, is the validity and actually, in my opinion, the strength of Galvantula as a safe swap. And I honestly think it is a better safe swap than it is as a lead, in my opinion. Just for a couple reasons that I'll get into. So we'll go over the makeup of the team. The goal here is to try and set up Altaria for a sweep, or at least set up Altaria for a pretty dominating matchup versus another Pokemon where it can bring energy in against the next, right? So the goal here, lead with Vigoroth. In any neutral or lost leads, you just swap to Galvantula right away. Once you swap to Galvantula, if they have Stunfisk, it's coming out for sure. So Stunfisk comes out, or Marowak comes out, or whatever Bastion comes out, whatever threatens Altaria should probably come out, unless it's a fairy. Even Charmers will probably come out, and you just hit it with lunges. Toxicroak comes out. You hit it with lunges. Just keep hitting it with lunges. Doesn't matter if Discharge is super effective. If you're in a losing matchup, you just keep lunging it down, and then you farm it all the way down with Vigoroth and body slam the next thing into Oblivion, or farm it down with Altaria and get a couple Sky Attacks off. So Galvantula is kind of sacrificed here to provide a farming situation for Vigoroth in this case. The reason I chose Vigoroth, it's very handily able to take down Stunfisk, which I believe to be the main swap in, as well as having very powerful charge move. Like Body Slam isn't really seen as a very powerful charge move, but it's one of the best charge moves in the game. And it has pretty good neutral coverage versus everything that counter doesn't hit, and you're probably farming down something that counter hits pretty hard. So let's get into some gameplay and start seeing how this goes. It's a Goon lead. They're going to swap out. And you might be saying, oh, Altaria, but there's so many everyone's running Charmhole now. Double Charmer, how does Altaria have any play? Well, here we have a double Charmer team. They swap in their first Charmer, Wigglytuff. I recognize it's probably double Charmer, and I stay in with Vigoroth. I throw a Body Slam and get a shield. So I have shield advantage now, switching Galvantula at a position where I'm able to farm this Wigglytuff all the way down. So Galvantula with an energy lead is a very scary thing, and they have to think about what they're going to bring back in. I go for the lunge, even though it's not very effective, right? But I still get the shield, and they swap into Obstagoon, so I'm going to get another lunge in again. Their Obstagoon is pretty sacrificed at this point, but look, once they swap in, it's debuffed. I'm going to come with Altaria. I don't have to shield anything, right? Getting that debuff into a locked-in Pokemon is a really big deal. And they even get the Night Slash boost here, right? But with the boost, they're only up +1 because they're still lunge debuffed. And at this point, Altaria doesn't really need HP, right? There's a Charmer in the back. There's not too much you can do about that. I'm going to swap into Vigoroth here and really hope I get to this Body Slam, which I will. And notice I still have a shield because it's a double charmer team. So even if they get to the Weather Ball, it's not too bad. And we come in and Dragon Breath that Alolan Ninetales down. That's right, Altaria is confirmed a double charm counter and an Alolan Ninetales counter all in one fight. Next battle against Memphis Flow AD. We have another Obstagoon lead. I was kind of scared it was going to be another double charmer, but in comes the Skarmory. So a lot of people swapping Skarmories nowadays too, because people don't expect the Galvantula in the back. I swap a little bit slow, and I think I do this in all the Skarmory matchups, not on purpose, but because I was still getting used to this team. This is my very first set with this team. And I am counting my moves, just don't want them to get to the next Sky Attack to have to burn a shield, because I'm already down shields, but it's okay, because I'm up in energy. I'm going to get it back versus this Goon for sure. I'm going to get a second lunge off here, after already getting a shield, and I'll get 2 shields. So this Goon's attack is greatly dropped. They do a good job. Actually, I don't know if they undercharge or if that's the attack drop, but I can come with Altaria, right? And as soon as they come in with Galv, I'm going to swap right away so that my Vigoroth isn't behind. As soon as I get these, I need to get these body slams off before the lunge debuffs. And really at this point, I can choose to shield either Pokemon. I decided to save my shield for Altaria just to be safe, because Altaria has a good matchup versus both of these Pokemon. Yeah, and this is actually a very similar team to this one I'm running. I think a lot of people are starting to pick up on the Galv safe switch. And I do think Skarmory might be a better match, not on this team, but just in general with the Galv safe switch, because Galv will also draw out the Alolan Marowak too, right? Whereas Altaria is fine with the Alolan Marowak. It doesn't care. It cares more about the rock types, or sorry, the rock types, and Galvantula can draw those out for sure, but it can't really touch Marowak. So in this case, we have a Stunfisk lead. I don't swap out, even though it's a neutral matchup. I don't really know if I have to say this, but Galvantula kind of gets rocked, so we don't swap out at all, and they're going to swap out to their Skarmory. So similar situation. I'm a bit slow though. I'm not sure if you swap instantly, if you can prevent them from getting to the second Sky Attack. Maybe if you get the extra Volt Switch through, but same thing. I'm just going to throw my Discharge. Spending another shield to get all that energy isn't that good of an idea. It might have been a good idea last game, but this game, when they have the Stunfisk, it's really not a good idea, because your energy just doesn't do that much. I actually end up forcing them to throw their energy, which is great. So they throw the Mud Bomb, and I'm going to get another lunge off. I either force a shield or get this Stunfisk very low. And I overtap a little bit there, but it's okay. I bring in Altaria, and it's double debuffed. This Discharge does nothing. So they're going to come back in with Gardevoir. This is a rough game. I think I lose this one. Shadow Gardevoir in the back, very spicy. I really appreciate the Shadow Gardevoir as well. I do think it has really good matchups versus meta, as I talked about in a previous video, and I'm not going to quite get to that Body Slam, which doesn't matter anyways. Or does it? Actually, I win this game, because you can Dragon Breath down a Shadow Gardevoir from that HP. Shadow Gardevoir extremely squishy, despite being double resisted. Dragon Breath still ticks it down. Okay, I completely lied about that. I am sorry, guys. Forgot about the power of Altaria. So yeah, in this case, swap Galvantula straight into Mandibuzz. I know Galvantula is a better counter than Altaria, but the entire point of this is to just lunge them down. So it's likely they're not going to shield the first one. It doesn't matter. I lunge. They throw the Mud Bomb. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep lunging. And I'm going to get a shield. So when it's shield advantage back versus Toxicroak, they're going to be double debuffed. And they're not going to have any energy. So I can bring in whichever Pokemon I would like. Oh, I actually go for switch advantage here, because I realized I can bank a ton of energy, and I'm going to go for the lunge into this Mandibuzz, which they shield. Yeah, you'll notice I don't discharge a lot except versus like Azu. And then I go back in with Altaria, because Altaria generally is more easily hard countered. So if you can get into a decent matchup, you just put it there, right? So Vigoroth and Altaria, both okay versus Mandibuzz, but there's a chance that there's a Charmer or a Bastiodon or something like that in the back, and you can't take that risk. Vigoroth has much more neutral matchups. So if you can slide that Altaria into a solid matchup, definitely take that opportunity. Like I do here. So yeah. Like Mandibuzz versus Altaria, it's not even like Mandibuzz is just a really good Pokemon that I think is really underrated. But like as you can see, I've got a shield. You slowly take it down with those Dragon Breaths. I just need to get to one more Sky Attack, but I'm going to take like 4 foul plays on the way because this thing charges so fast. Yeah, like just look how much damage this Mandibuzz does. Mandibuzz is an amazing Pokemon for sure. But yeah, in the end, it doesn't really matter, as Linkin Park once said. So, yeah, Altaria able to carry the game out here. It's tough to nail down the MVP of this line. I do think the role Galvantula plays. Okay, so if you notice here, I cut out the catching animation to kind of cut down the time on this video for you guys. Please let me know in the comments if you like this kind of thing. It's not too much extra effort. I did want to keep in the set rewards at the end just to show that I'm not just cherry picking games and showing the consistent success that this kind of team can have. So this is Grasshole. So love having these Grasshole games in here. I honestly really like playing versus Grasshole. It's like a puzzle that you have to solve with each team. I know a lot of people don't like playing versus it, but I think it's pretty important here to show how I would play versus it and that my team can beat it because a lot of you really care about it. So this Grottle, I let it attack me down. I'm not lagging. I'm letting it attack me down, and I let it get me to this HP because I want this Bastiodon to be able to KO me, right? Throwing this Dragon Pulse here is actually pretty questionable. I should have just let my Altaria go down and then bring in my my Vigoroth to hit the Bastiodon a little bit. So I guess if you missed it, what I did at the beginning was charge up to a Body Slam and then switch out on the Grottle. So I had that Body Slam to burn the shield of this Victreebel, and once that shield is down, guess who wins the one shield but not the 2 shield? Galvantula does, right? So I'm going to be able to get this lunge off. I throw an extra Volt Switch just to get a little bit lower, so this Bastiodon gets a bit less farm. There's actually another Grasshole game later that I don't play as well because I wasn't concentrating and I make a dumb mistake. This, if you really want to learn the Grasshole matchup, this is the game that you go back and you watch how I played this game. And you'll beat Grasshole every time. Which I know some of you guys love. Okay, Shadow Abomasnow lead. It's a good lead, but what comes in the back is usually kind of scary. Abomasnow almost always comes with Azu. So as soon as they swap in the Sableye, I swap in the Altaria. And return hits for a lot. I probably could have charged up a little bit more, but I kind of expected him to shield. He did not. And we're going to be able to take him down. You can see I was attacking a bit slowly there. I'm trying to take some more Shadow Claw damage so this Abomasnow doesn't farm me down as much. So it only hits 3 Powder Snows as opposed to maybe 4 if I did that a different way. So it gets to Weather Ball. This is going to really hurt, but I know that I still probably have to save shields for their... Oh, wait, it's not an Azu. That's a pretty deranged looking Azu. It's a Toxicroak. So this throws my game plan a little bit off. But as we've seen earlier, the Galvantula versus Toxicroak matchup isn't that bad. We just got to get these lunges out there. And at this point, I've realized that I can just farm all the way down once I burned that shield. My win condition is getting to 2 lunges versus this Abomasnow. So as soon as this Abomasnow comes in, press that lunge button, they get their Powder Snow through. Very annoying. But I should still be able to get to this lunge, even though they get another Powder Snow through. Yeah, that's something I need to work on is fast move denial with my 4-turn move versus a 2-turn. I just always forget to do it because it's not a mirror, but it's still very helpful. So that is something that I personally need to work on. But I wouldn't focus on it if you're still getting used to the team. So Politoed lead. We're going to come in with Galvantula, and they're going to counter swap Drifblim. I'm really unsure about this, so this is the first time I think you see me use Discharge. It's because Lunge is resisted. If they call the bait, it's like a really bad thing. And we have Lucario on the back. This team is extremely spicy. But now we're just going to go straight lunges, right? So this lunge, even though it's resisted, is still going to deal quite a bit of damage. They're not even faking anything. They're just going straight for the power-up punches, which feels bad to shield, but I think I will shield here just to burn yet another shield and get another debuff. This will make the farm down quite a bit easier for whichever Pokemon I decide to bring in. Unfortunately, no farm down because they faint at the same time. They had to bring in Politoed, and I was a bit scared that their Politoed might have Blizzard, So I decided to bring my Vigoroth to kind of get rid of some of their energy. Once they reveal this Earthquake, I swap in the Altaria, and that's just GG, right? Politoed, very strong Pokemon, but guess what? It can't touch Altaria at all. Altaria is probably one of the biggest counters in the game to Politoed. If it's running Earthquake, it just cannot hit Altaria. Alright, so Toxicroak lead again. We're going to swap into Galv. It's a bit different when they're not locked in, but this one decides to switch right away, and they swap into Abomasnow. So this is an interesting matchup. It's regular Abomasnow. Galvantula beats regular Abomasnow in the 2-shield. You just got to make sure you're shielding before your lunge debuffs go off. I'm going to get to that lunge. They're going to shield, or maybe not. Missed a bunch of bubbles, so they're probably better off no shielding that one. But I'll shield this one no shield this one as well, because I know they have another one stored, right? So they're gonna get to another one before I get to my lunge. So I kind of give them a little bit of hope there, and then take it away, because this lunge will KO. And now whatever they bring back in, I know they have a Toxicroak, not a great matchup for Vig, great matchup for Altaria. So we're going to go back in, but unfortunately it's an Azu the back. This is probably the worst backliner for there to be once Galvantula is gone. Normally, if Azu is there, if Vigoroth was able to farm something down and have a ton of body slams, this matchup is flipped, right? But in this case, it's a bit tough, especially going straight Ice Beams. They know the matchup. They know Play Rough is kind of a waste of energy. I don't quite get to that body slam, so it's going to be a race to a charge move here on Altaria, which I'm already almost at. The problem is this Toxicroak is still going to deal a ton of damage in the back. If it gets to 2 Sludge Bombs, Altaria can't take 2. Altaria can only take 1 Sludge Bomb. So it's going to be very close, but they're going to get to a second charge move. Let's see what it is. Sludge Bomb, yeah. I remember this game. Pour one out for Altaria. But it isn't quite able to finish it off. So yeah, a decent amount of Toxicroaks today. So we have a Charmer lead. Can't really switch out of Charmer leads. You kind of just have to go at it with Vigoroth. With Vigoroth, you can almost certainly take a shield versus all of these Charmers. The problem is they're probably going to take a shield back, and unfortunately, I don't quite get to that third body slam. I might have considered switching, but instead, I'm just going to go for the aggressive farm down. But instead, they switch to Snorlax, so not a Pokemon you normally see in Great League, right? So that's when I think something's up, right? You don't swap a Charmer out of Galvantula and then into a Snorlax unless something is up. So something's happening with this team. In all honesty, I probably should have thrown a lunge or charged up a little bit more on Galvantula. I was just a bit panicked because I saw the Snorlax. If there's just licks involved, you just charge up until you think they're going to throw a Body Slam and then switch. The Body Slam hurts Altaria a lot less than Galvantula, and the energy is much more useful on Galvantula. So they bring back in the Clefable, and Altaria takes down yet another Charmer. And guess what? Out comes Munchlax. So I was right. There's something up with this team. It is a all-in-the-family team. Big brother, little brother, Munchlax, Snorlax team. Pretty much the simplest version of a double weakness line as you can possibly get. Honestly, I like it. It's interesting for sure. But unfortunately for Munchlax, it just doesn't hit quite hard enough to beat Galvantula in the 1-shield. So I'm going to be able to easily lunge this down, especially with a little bit of the energy advantage that I had. I'm going to be able to, take down that team there. And that's another 4 sets. So that's 2 4 sets, I think. So far, don't worry, there is a losing set coming up. I know there's some of you out there who love to see me lose. That's Schadenfreude. Don't tell me if I'm saying it wrong. I'm sure it's not as brutal as Jellicent, like I was saying. But yeah, a little bit of bad play in this set and a couple bad matchups and some very close games too. So this is actually an example of the Stunfisk counter swap. We can see how this is played. In the last set I played in the day, that didn't quite make into the video because it's a bit too long. I can't put 5 sets in. You guys just don't have the attention span for that. I actually did win versus the the Galarian Stunfisk switch in, and you can see how close this gets and the game plan from this. So the thing is, once you've debuffed this Galarian Stunfisk, they have two choices. They can either let the Vigoroth come in and farm them all the way down, or they can swap out and give Altaria a really good matchup. In the case where I won, they swapped out into a Politoed, and my Altaria just took it to town and won the game off of the back of an energy advantage, and just deleting a Politoed. In this case, they decide to stay in because they favor switch advantage, and we'll see how this plays out as well. Like, they have a Pelipper, so switch advantage is pretty important to them, right? So they have a Deoxys, and I'm going to swap right into my Altaria because Deoxys versus Vigoroth is so dominating. You just cannot stay in that matchup at all. They're going to Psycho Boost bait me and swap out. At this point, I assumed it was Psycho Boost, Thunderbolt, and I thought I had a chance. Spoilers, it is not Thunderbolt. But the fact that they're bringing in Pelipper into Altaria, normally it's not good. I actually nailed a Hurricane right there, which is really big. But I really do need to get my Vigoroth back in against this thing. So I'm waiting for my switch timer, and I swap and throw the Body Slam when I think they're getting to about a Hurricane to delete that energy. So, but unfortunately, I don't quite get to that Body Slam. If I get to that Body Slam, it's a little bit different. I think they still win. But if this is a Thunderbolt as well, Altaria survives, and I'm one turn away. You can see me click or get to that Sky Attack and click it. That Sky Attack KOs. So very close game. Just showing you the play that you can make against that Galarian Stunfisk switch and how that's supposed to be played, because I think that's normally a more common thing that will happen. So Swampert lead, kind of have to switch it, stay in, because Galvantula is not the best here. I'll take a Hydro Cannon, and I'll shield one. So now they're kind of throwing right away. You have two options. You can keep going and hope that they switch out. So it's a Skuntank. I've been seeing more of these at the Legend rating for some reason. I think it's a very strong Pokemon. But I'm going to swap right out to Altaria. Sludge Bomb would really hurt here. Crunch is okay. Yeah, so I'll just take the Crunch. And I didn't realize that they had so much energy. I don't know the counts for Skuntank. So I'm going to have to unfortunately take or lose my last shield. So a little bit of poor play for me, right? Like it's these counting scenarios, and I thought I'd be able to get to two Sky Attacks, but unfortunately, what comes in is an Abomasnow and a Shadow One at that. I'm not gonna be able to get to that second attack. So at this point, this Abomasnow is in such a commanding position. It has an energy advantage, and I have to catch a move. So a bit of lag there, but I do manage to catch the move. And they swap into Swampert, and I throw right away. What I wasn't really keeping track of energy. I should have been, because if I was, I could have probably thrown another Volt Switch before lunging, and then I'd be able to take down the Shadow Abomasnow. So well played by me for the catch, and then really not well played for me by the move counting in this game. That game was definitely winnable. Bit of misplay on my part. Stunfisk lead. This is where you do like to see the Stunfisk. It's not debuffed though at this point. So honestly, sometimes I'd prefer to see it debuffed instead. And they swap right into the Sableye. My best counter for Sableye is the Altaria. Unfortunately, CMP tie here. So they go for the Foul Play, which I think is the correct play. I'm not sure why I got returned last time. Foul Play does neutral damage. And this guy shields. So because of this, I kind of really need switch advantage. I can't have Galvantula going up against Stunfisk. At least not like in the end game. And they're going to bring out Stunfisk and try and farm me a little bit down. Going to Rock Slide off. And I'm going to go into Vigoroth, obviously, here. And we'll see what they have. It's just a Rock Slide. I think they were at more, but they're going to bring in the Tropius. And this matchup is still not over. Tropius is very annoying. They really need to make it not a regional or something like that, or nerf it, because it's kind of unfair not being able to have it. I understand they also need to bring Deoxys Defense back to raids, but that's another story. I'm going to let the first one through, despite the fact that I have lunge, because I don't care about my Galvantula that much. It's all about my Vigoroth. I actually stopped attacking there. I don't know if you see it. But even if they hadn't thrown their energy, I would have stopped attacking there. I don't want that Galarian Stunfisk to be able to get all this energy off on me. So I'll throw the Bulldoze straight up because people never shield, I swear. And yeah, the game is over. I think the game is over. Even if they shield, I can just get to another Bulldoze or a Body Slam at that point. So that might be my only win this set. That's okay. You win some, you lose some, right? You got the Umbreon lead. It's a decent lead. Despite these counters being super effective, Umbreon is just so tanky that, honestly, this isn't what I would even consider a good matchup. So I switch. And in comes the oh, nope, Chandelure. Okay, so bit of a crazy Pokemon. I don't know why I broke my rule. Always go for the lunge when they're locked in. Like, that's cardinal rule right here. Ugh. I guess it wouldn't really make too much of a difference anyways. They get the Flame Charge off, and I'm shielding this regardless. Shadow Ball will probably KO with the boost. So even with the debuff, it wouldn't have mattered too much. In fact, they might have even got more farm off on my Spider. But in comes Azumarill. So you hate to see it in the back. I assumed it was going to be a Marowak or something like that. Yeah, I'm just going to try and do as much damage to this Azu as possible with Sky Attacks. This matchup isn't too bad. It's just the Dragon Breath that don't do anything. And I try to swap and throw my Body Slam, but boy, does my opponent have some quick fingers. That was a very fast switch. Even though I was smashing that Body Slam button, they still managed to get the switch off first, so they were waiting for that the whole time. So very well played to my opponent. It's usually a play that you can't really dodge, so... but I'm able to take down this Umbreon with Vigoroth, and let's get this Body Slam off on this Azu. Unfortunately, this Azu is going to be able to farm down on my Vigoroth, and I'm not able to burn their last shield. So kind of at the mercy of this Azu at this point. Let's see if I can Dragon Breath down another Fairy. It's already happened a couple of times before. No, not even close. This Azu has so much energy. I think that's why they were able to switch so fast, right? They weren't like focusing on throwing their moves. They were just bubbling into space and just waiting for me to swap. So Alolan Ninetales lead. This is what you like to see in the lead. It's a Charmer as well. No Powder Snow. And somehow, even though I do my proper move count, they get a move through. So that means that I lagged for a turn at the beginning, which is actually going to be a pretty big deal. Letting an extra charm through is awful, and I don't get that Body Slam off now. So because of one turn of lag, I don't get to burn a shield. And I am now at a shield disadvantage versus a Charmer. So this game is kind of scuffed, to be honest, already. Like, this should have been a much more comfortable game. They're bringing out an Azu into my Galvantula. So I'm just going to hit it with Discharge, and I'm not going to go for the Discharge again. They have two shields. There's no way they don't shield this, right? And in comes Scrafty. So I am going to just keep farming down with this Altaria. This is going to be pretty rough still. The thing is, I need to throw my Sky Attack. I can't save it for the Azu because I would need to burn a shield. And unfortunately, I decide to no-shield my Altaria here. Like, why? I'm at the Sky Attack. What am I doing? And because of that, I can't quite take down this Azu because it still has a shield. So, extremely poor play. I think I was a bit... This is what happens when I lag a little bit at the beginning. Just all play goes out the window. It's just so tilting to me. I don't mind losing to my own mistakes, but holy cow, losing to lag is awful. This next game versus Pretty Little Llama. Good friend of mine in the Pokemon Go community. I cannot beat them in Sylph at all. They're my kryptonite. But in GBL, we'll see how it goes. Maybe a different story. I'll shield the first one. I was kind of expecting them to switch here, so that's why I didn't throw the lunge right away. But it's clear that they want to stand versus the Galv, so I will punish them a little bit. Let's get that shield, and they swapped Clefable lunge debuff. So I like that play from them. I think that's how you're supposed to play the Galv switching, except maybe don't shield. But once again, Tropius, not a huge threat to my team, but if I can win switch advantage here and get Altaria against Toxicroak, that would be ideal. But instead, they have other plans. They realize they want switch advantage. Toxicroak into Vigoroth is too good for them. But look at this. So this is the plan, right? You might think coming with Altaria, it's got a good matchup, but it's a debuffed Tropius. So coming with Vigoroth, and I'm just going to farm all the way down. And if I farmed all the way down, I would be able to throw Body Slam at this Toxicroak and instantly take it out, and Vigoroth is no longer countered. Instead, they come out with the Zweilous. I'm going to throw the Dragon Pulse. This is why you run this move. It's the only time I've ever used it in this entire set. We're just going to take out that Zweilous, and they're going to come with this Tropius at the end. So, yeah, allowing that Altaria to come and take out that Toxicroak. So I put myself in a position there with that farm down, where they either had to swap and give Altaria the good matchup, which they did, or they stay in and let Vigoroth farm down and have a Body Slam to take out the Toxicroak, which they didn't, right? So it's a win-win scenario. We have another Grasshole here. Oh god, I play this one so bad. I throw the move. Why am I throwing the move? Okay, so remember what I said. Don't throw the move, you just switch, because you don't want the switch timers to be out of sync. You bring in Altaria here because it's got the guaranteed matchup versus the Razor Leafer, and you just want to take back switch advantage. So they Acid Spray me. Very interesting move. I don't know if I would have done that. You really don't want to Acid Spray the Altaria because that's less farm for your Bastion, right? So in this case, I throw the Dragon Pulse right away, and I feel like I'm like, oh, my switch timer's still up. So the Bastion must be locked in, but it's not. It's not locked in. What am I doing? This is an absolute disaster. I have to throw this Body Slam right away, which is also not efficient because Lunge will just KO. And it doesn't burn a shield, right? Just to stall a switch timer so I can switch out. So huge misplay. Don't watch this one. Go back and watch the other Grasshole one again instead if you want to learn how to play versus Grasshole. I'm just going to lunge this guy. The discharges, they don't really do too much damage anyways. It's all going to be about this Vigoroth and surviving, even though I only have a little bit of HP. So this is going to come down to the wire. They throw. And I have no shields now. So if they get to the next Stone Edge, it's game over. And I think they got to it right there. So very close because I made that one mistake. If my Vigoroth is healthier, with 2 lunge debuffs, I don't care if I take a Stone Edge, right? But in this case, you kind of do. So yeah, that video was poor play. Don't watch that one. Go back, watch the first Grasshole game. Azumarill lead, honestly, this is where you like to see it. Counting my moves, throwing at 7. Just getting these Body Slams off. See, this is unfortunately a Pokemon I can't swap out of because I really need to eliminate it for Altaria. I might consider swapping after it blows its energy and it's this low, because then it is something that Altaria can take care of. In this case, I'm just going to let my Vigoroth go down and get the sweet, sweet farm with Galvantula. And people just hate letting you farm with Galvantula, so they swap right into their Marowak. I'm okay with this. Deleting this Marowak is very important to this team. I won't say it walls everything. This Vigoroth actually ties the 2 shield with it. I'm not sure if that game is in here, but Marowak lead, Vigoroth, you just throw Bulldoze and then Body Slam. It's a tie game. So I actually let them farm my Altaria down. That's not lag. I let them farm me down so I can come in with this Galvantula and them not have like a 4 hex lead because they farmed down my Altaria. So they're blowing fire punches here, and they swap into their Azumarill to try and catch. And unfortunately for them, this gives me a win condition. So wild win condition appears, and I'm just going to start throwing discharges because at this point, I realize it doesn't really matter if they're lunge debuffed, right? I just need to get this damage off. They're going to get to 1 more fire punch, which is going to get shielded. Obviously, I'm going to shield that. And I wasn't sure if that was... It looks like they lagged a bit. I wasn't sure if it was visual or not, but I don't think they were getting to the next fire punch there. Anyways, and I'm just going to finish the Volt Switches off and get to that discharge. So, yeah, let Vigoroth go down, intentionally sacrifice Altaria, Galvantula still wins the game. Breloom lead, this is an awful lead. Seeing a lot of Spice up in the rank 24 area right now, and they swap and catch a a Lunge. Like this is, they think they caught, but like I would throw a Lunge anyways. I don't really care. I just want to debuff this guy. And if I get a shield, great. And now they're in discharge territory. Shield, nope. I'm just lunging. That's what they don't know. Just lunge every single time. This time I decide to let it go because I think I could get to the lunge, but I was wrong. So instead, I guess I was a bit out to lunge there. But yeah, I'll just farm down. Psyshock doesn't really hurt. So that's the advantage. And they swap out. So this is what happens almost every time. People hate debuff Pokemon. So they swap out. I now know their full team. So because I have full knowledge of their team, I can decide how to play this. Altaria is fantastic into Lantern. It's amazing. But I realized I don't need my Altaria to beat this Lantern, right? I can completely sack it. Altaria comes in, gets some farm. And what do they have left? They don't have something for Altaria. And they know that, so they just leave. But if that were a different game where Altaria was not good against the lead, guess what? Altaria has a free out and now gets to take out this Lantern. Vigoroth gets to save all of its HP and bank a ton of energy. But actually, we're going to see the first Altaria ourselves. This is not a good switch in for Galvantula, but guess what? You go straight lunge. It's not even that bad. Like, discharge does more damage, sure. But that's not the point, right? The point is to debuff them. I want to get a ton of energy on this Vigoroth, because I want to be able to hit this Deoxys with body slams. So they actually shield because they're in discharge range at that point. And I don't shield here. In hindsight, I probably should have, because I could have won switch advantage. Or shield. But I'm just going to farm down Vigoroth, see how much damage this Dragon Pulse does. It's not that much. Unleash my body slams on this Deoxys, but Deoxys is such a tank, I have to swap anyways. And guess what's an Azumarill? Whew. Yeah, the Azumarill in the back are the real problem for this team if they don't come out onto the Vigoroth in the first place. So you just got to be careful about that. Yeah, so they're going to get the Ice Beam off. I don't shield. I mean, it doesn't KO. And if I shield, then it will KO the next time anyways. So the only difference is they get a little bit more energy, and then I'll hope they throw like a Hydro Pump or something at my Vigoroth instead. But this game is not looking like a winnable one at the moment. Because I'll be forced to shield or move. Probably just an Ice Beam. But you can always hope. And Deoxys, just like I said, such a commanding matchup over Vigoroth. There's not much you can really do here. Except try your best. Keep a positive attitude. But either way, we're going to end this set 4 out of 5. Yet again, I think that was the third 4 out of 5 set of this one. And this team gained me, what did we end up here? 34, 43. So nearly 100 rating at the over legend mark. So it's definitely a viable team. Definitely has the potential to take you to legend. Like, well, it took me over 3,000 from under 3,000, so I guess the proof is in the pudding right there. But yeah, that's this team. It's a bit of a different style from the teams that you've seen from me before. Usually I run a double weakness team. This one runs the same way. So don't worry about having to switch up your play style if you've generally been using my teams in the past. It's the same thing, right? Same play, neutral lead, get out to draw the counters. You want to swap out at some point in most games, unless you think that you can let Galvantula have a great farm down against something like Azu in the lead. But yeah, if you like this kind of video, remember to mash that subscribe button. You can follow the links below to all the socials. Our Discord has been bumping recently. Lots of new people have shown up to Discord. It's been a blast chatting with you all. And my Patreon is down there too if you guys want to support. Coaching spots are mostly full at this point, but there might be some, I'm not really sure. But yeah, as always, guys, thanks for watching.